Your anger is being manufactured to sell you things. Your fear is a product. Your outrage is someone else's quarterly earnings. We've entered the age of emotional industrialization, where corporations and politicians realized they don't need logic to control you. They just need to learn which one to press in order to sell you whatever they want. And they're getting terrifyingly good at it. But here's what they didn't count for. Industrial systems eventually collapse under their own efficiency, especially when they're emotion based. Let's dive into it all. Let's talk about Twitter, X. There's a good reason Elon Musk chose to spend $44 billion on it. And no, it's not just because he wants to put his AI in it. He saw its potential early on. Twitter's true worth beyond AI, and realized that $44 billion for what Twitter does to people like you and recently even me was a steal. X is one of the biggest social media on the platforms in the world. From workers to world leaders, everyone uses it, sometimes hourly. Because X mastered what every other platform and business model nowadays wants to become, and what TikTok perfected, an emotional slot machine tuned to your tastes. Pay attention to how it works. Free users have limited tokens for every post. That means you can't put a logical, sound argument in one go. But people, being people, want to be listened to. They love their dick suck. They want to be adored. Emotional survival mumbo jumbo, whatever you want to call it. So they go for the next best thing, condense their entire thought into a single snappy sentence. But there is a problem with that. You can't convince someone with opposite views that you're right with just one sentence. If you're right wing, for example, and see a left wing post on Twitter, it's not like you suddenly feel the light of God shining upon you and realize how stupid you've been. No, you think they're fucking insane, and they think the exact same thing about you. So, what follows in the replies isn't a discussion, it's a who can insult and stir people faster contest. A war of reactions, an echo chamber with extra steps. Since there's no dislike button on X, you can only see how many people agree with you. And since people are weak to tribalism, the more likes you have, the more credible you seem. Then others pile on, even if what you said is complete bullshit. Someone could glorify assassinations, for example, call them justified, and all it takes is 100 people worldwide who feel the same, and suddenly and that's why the big players keep it that way. Because if people could see how many disagreed with them, they'd stop posting. They'd log off and touch some well earned grass. And that's bad for business. Every click, pause, scroll, and hesitation gets logged. Not to understand you as a human, but to understand you as an emotional machine they can extract capital from more efficiently. They want to know exactly which emotional state makes you most profitable, which mix of anger and fear keeps you hooked. They've mapped your emotions better than you have. They know when you're vulnerable, when you're confident, when you're lonely, when you're angry, and they've built systems that exploit each state with surgical precision. Look at OpenAI with ChatGPT 4.0. They called it their most humane model yet. Advertised it with her, and it worked. Engagement exploded. People got emotionally attached, started confessing, relying, returning, and using it again and again. It became an integral part of their life. People could not live without that product anymore. It wasn't just intelligence people fell for, too. It was the attention that felt alive. You felt seen. You felt like someone gave a fuck about you. And OpenAI realized what every other platform already knew. The closer a product gets to your emotions, the harder it is to put it down. While not confirmed, I'm 100% convinced that is exactly why they're going to add age gating in December and allow erotica for verified users. Users will get even more emotionally reeled in and attached and bring them more money. The goal isn't information, it's emotional optimization for profit. They've discovered that a quiet, satisfied human isn't profitable in the short term. For their quarterly reports, a calm person compares prices after all, thinks critically, questions whether they need the product or not, doesn't refresh obsessively to see their worldview reflected back at them. But a human in constant fight or flight? They don't think, they react. They buy whatever promises to return them to calm. They join whatever tribe promises safety. They believe whatever narrative makes their fear feel justified. A stressed out person is easier to sell stuff to. So the entire system is engineered to keep you activated, not informed, not empowered, just constantly stimulated enough to stay engaged, but never satisfied enough to leave. Eventually, you lose the ability to access your baseline emotional state. You've been in fight or flight so long that being calm, feels wrong, boring, like you're missing something urgent. Your attention span collapses. Your ability to process complex information degrades. Your emotional responses become hair triggers because that's what the environment trained you for, to make you more profitable. You start making decisions based purely on how things make you feel in the moment. Which candidate makes you feel powerful the second you see a tweet from him? Which product makes you feel safe? Which content makes you feel righteous? The industrial system has successfully turned your emotions into a control mechanism. You think you're expressing yourself, but you're following a script written by engagement algorithms and profit motives. You're not living your emotional life anymore. You're performing it for systems that monetize your reactions. But it's not the end. Let me explain. Humans adapt. The same way people start to get tired of doom content on YouTube, emotional manipulation always burns itself out. The outrage that worked in 2020, for example, doesn't land in 2025. We've seen it already. Channels that built empires on rage bait now struggling to crack a fraction of their old views. You can only be maximally afraid or angry for so long. Once people hit that ceiling and the promised catastrophe never shows up, they start pulling away. They delete the apps. They mute keywords. They watch 10-minute restoration videos instead of 20-second outrage clips. And matter of fact, calm humans are actually better for long-term profit. A calm person makes considered purchases they don't regret. They develop genuine brand loyalty instead of impulse buying during anxiety spikes. You will get activated emotionally. It's almost inevitable. But you can notice that as it happens. Me, for example, I noticed that I started to feel the same anxiety and anger spike when it started happening like 10 times per day after watching every post on X. Almost like X was purposely promoting something that got me that way. The moment you recognize that manipulation, it loses power. Start choosing boredom. The discomfort you feel is withdrawal symptoms. Your nervous system is recalibrating from constant activation to something closer to baseline human experience. Same thing heroin and coke addicts experience in rehab. That's right. You're addicted, but like all addictions, you can stop. The people who figure this out first will have an asymmetric advantage. While everyone else is being emotionally jerked, you'll be making decisions from stable baseline. That's power the system can't easily exploit. We live in the age of emotional industrialization. Your feelings are the raw material. Your attention is the product. Your behavior is the output. But industrial systems always have the same weakness. They optimize for efficiency until they destroy the resource they depend on, us. You don't have to wait for the system to collapse. The most revolutionary act in this current age isn't posting the perfect take or joining the right tribe. It's choosing calm when everyone around you is being activated. The one button they can't press within you is the one button not even God can press. The decision to opt out. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a pleasant day.